Welcome on Texas Football. I'm Bobby Burton, joined by Gerry Hamilton. We had Arch Manning at the microphone just moments ago today. Let's hear what the quarterback had to say about his performance against Ohio State.
Yeah, we were trying to go fast there and get the end zone. I got to get more of a push there, get us points, especially that close.
So were you tied at the start of the game?
What's up?
Were you tied at the start of the game?
I got to play better to start. I got to start faster, get completions, get it to my guys in space. And I didn't do that well enough on Saturday.
Arch, how do you handle disappointment? Do you wash stuff immediately, or do you obsess over the details?
Yeah, obviously you don't like losing, especially opening week going 0-1. But the sun comes up and it's time to attack San Jose State. Can't dwell on the past. It's not going to help me or help the team. So we got to learn from it and get better and attack this week.
Good stuff. He went on to say that he was Gerry. He was going from there over to the facility to lift weights, get a lift in. He had dinner or lunch with his mom and dad, then dinner with his brother last night. It sounds like he's just trying to normalize it and get back and get things going in a different direction this upcoming week.
Yeah, look, he's going to handle everything the right way. I don't think there's any doubt about that, whether it's success or whether it's a failure. And I said, or a bad game. Let's not call a failure a bad game or successful game. He's going to handle everything the right way, just like they handled their recruitment, just like he handled his patience in process to getting on the field. Nothing's going to change now with success or a setback. I would just be surprised if we don't see him take the mature approach, have the correct attitude, have the correct ability to look at things and learn from what they are, but also put them behind you and move on. I just don't – that's just look at the way that he's handled his whole process. Nothing's going to change. He's going to stay with the process.
I look at his final stats. His stat line does not look horrible. 17 of 30 for 170, 1 TD, 1 interception. But it was really a tale of two halves, and that's one thing that Steve Sarkisian talked about in his press conference earlier today, saying that Sark clearly was – or that, excuse me, Arch clearly did not come out of the gate running in the first half, but he thought Sark and he had a conversation at halftime, and Sark thought he calmed down a little bit, and then he felt like Arch actually did a pretty good job in the fourth quarter and most of the second half leading the team.
Yeah, no, I think that's, obviously we weren't there for the conversation, so we listened to what Sark had to say today. But I go back to, what Joel Klatt said on Monday in his post-mortem over the college football weekend. He was talking about his first career start at Kansas State, who was really good, who went on to win the Big 12. And he said he forgot 3 shifts. I mean, he said he was a mess in that game. He said you get in there and it's an out-of-body experience when your first starts on the road like that. And it becomes an out-of-body experience, and you can lose sight and focus of all the things you're supposed to be doing. And, that was one of the things I took away from that, as much as what, Sark saying, hey, he helped Arch settle down at halftime, is Joel Klatt from his experience talking about it, how you kind of have an out-of-body experience that you don't expect, and you have to react to that. And when do you react to that? And he's not worried about Arch. Sark's not worried about Arch. I think Arch is going to bounce back just like we'd expect him to. He's a young professional and has been raised that way. He had to be in the fishbowl. But I think Sark is going to have the right messaging for Arch. I think the family's going to have right messaging for Arch. And I expect we'll see, yes, they're playing not good teams the next 3 weeks. But I think we're going to see an Arch Manning that we're going to be able to look at through poor opponents and still say he's improving week to week to week as he gets more comfortable headed into the Florida game October 4th.
Sark said that San Jose State will throw the ball 40 to 50 times this coming week. That's a whole lot. I wonder what your prescription is. Like, if you're a doctor of football and if you're Steve Sarkisian, essentially making $10 million a year, you're a doctor of football. What is your prescription that you prescribe Arch Manning this coming weekend?
Well, I think it's interesting because I don't think – look, I've watched some of the San Jose State Central Michigan game. Central Michigan ran for 250 yards, ran all over San Jose State at San Jose State. I think Texas is going to be able to do whatever they want offensively. So how is Sark going to put that together? Is he going to run early, or is he just going to let the Arch get the ball out of his hand in some quick game stuff this week versus last, not doing it last week early to try to get him in the rhythm, or is he going to let the run game get him in the rhythm? Because here's what I will say. I expect wide receivers to be running open in this game, especially as we get into the first quarter, second quarter. So I think Arch is going to be able to – there's going to be a lot of guys open. He's going to have guys to choose from. But how's Sark going to set it up? Is he going to run it early to help Arch, or is he just throw some quick game to get him in a flow against San Jose State? I do think what's one thing you said on the live stream Sunday night with Rod and myself is true. He needs to throw it 30 times these next 3 games. It would be easy to hand it off 60 times and throw it 20 or 50 and run it and throw it 20. I'm not sure that's helping Arch Manning get ready for Florida and Oklahoma, even though you're not playing competent opponents talent-wise. He still needs the reps, and he still needs to have the success.
Yeah, and I have no problem. I mean, this is what I was talking about. You mentioned I asked about the prescription for his long-term success. I do think you hit on something with getting the short, easy throws in to get him up and running. I don't mind if of those 30 throws, 20 of them are that way against a San Jose State. But I think he needs reps with them against live action to feel a game time, a reality of game time. Because I felt like more than anything, his feet got sloppy, his timing was off, he was confused at times against Ohio State. Some of that is to the benefit, or some of that is because of Ohio State. So I'm not taking anything away from them in the victory, but he needs to get a feel for the game and get into the game. And I think giving him that many shorter throws and not forcing it deep with him will give him the ability to kind of get better as the season wears on, because San Jose is just the first game. He's got 3 games to kind of improve before they go to Florida.
I think one of the things Sark's going to do in these next 3 games as well is he's going to call probably, and maybe a game by game by game thing, he's going to call every route concept that he wants to call at some point this season. And he wants the Arch to complete that ball in a live game situation and not it just be practice situations. So I think that's one of the things you're going to see. That's going to be a corner route to DeAndre Moore, right? That's going to be a post route to Ryan Wingo. That is going to be that may be a post corner route then to Parker Livingstone. That may be the digs. That may be some variation of things with the tight ends. I think Sark is going to want to scheme into these 3 games. Every throw he's going to ask Arch to make throughout the season, and he's going to want to see him complete that ball and get that rhythm in game within the route tree and within the scheme of the offense. I think that's one thing we're definitely going to see.
Sark spoke to the media today, as well as Arch, as well as Jack Endries, Malik Muhammad, Jack Boomeister, the punter, even got a chance at the.
It was like media day all over again.
It was. They really went deep into the bucket there to pick guys out to talk to the media. I would say this about Arch and what he had to say today, and I just want to get your feeling on this. It was clear from that clip that we had earlier. He does not like losing. He looks like he's still 48 hours away, and he still looks like he's been beaten pretty bad.
Yeah,
beat himself up a little bit about his performance. Would you agree with that? And is that healthy, or does he need to put that behind him a little bit more?
I think it's healthy if it doesn't become something that's a detriment long term, because there's going to be other losses in his career, right? I think he was in such a tough and unique position that your first road start as a college quarterback with all the hype and buildup was against the defending national champion.
Yeah.
And the reality of that game is we all know it, and he knows it. He knows the defense is good. He goes against them every day. And as that game played out, I think the tough thing for him, and he came out like you would expect, and he just said it. The tough thing for him after that game, and when you get on an airplane, is you feel like it was you were the reason that team lost.
Yeah.
The defense did enough. The run game was enough. But at the end of the day, he's going to put that loss on his shoulders. And sometimes as a quarterback, that comes with the territory. But what you have to do is not let it become an issue later in the season, because I think Texas will lose another game. So that second loss, it can't be something that leads to third loss, right? I mean, I think it's good to experience it for a young quarterback, but then you have to be able to compartmentalize and put it away and not let it affect you down the road. And I think he'll be fine in that regard. But I do think, look, at one thing I took away from that press conference, I still think he feels like that loss was on him. You can tell by the way he reacted.
I agree. I think he's personalizing it. And my question is he personalizing it too much? Because there are 84 other guys that went up to Columbus with him, I think.
Yeah, I think that's the nature of the quarterback, being a quarterback, right? It's like it's hard for him to think back on that game, whether it's true or not. I mean, I think that's where his brother being a comedian is great for him, and his dad being a comedian is great for him. But it's hard to look at. You could just look at the box score and say, man, Ohio State had 200 yards and we lost.
Yeah.
And you think back on the game and you're like, wow, we just did not get it done on our side of the ball, and I didn't play as well as I needed to, else we would have won that football game. Bottom line.
Yeah, but he's got some time now to get the verb back. I got one more question. I got one more question for you, Jerry. But first, I want to say thank you to our sponsor of Talking Ball. That's Dr. Brett Robin at Austin's Orthopedic Institute for sponsoring On Texas Football. Dr. Robin, a former Longhorn running back, knows what it takes to stay in the game, and he's here for athletes of all ages, specializing in musculoskeletal health. Dr. Robin treats joint pain and injuries with a conservative approach first, but also offers advanced surgical options, including arthroscopic procedures, fracture management, and total joint replacements. With convenient offices in Austin, Georgetown, and Killeen, Dr. Robin is accepting new patients. If you're looking for a top-notch orthopedic, give Dr. Robin a call, 512-856-1000, 512-856-1000. Again, that's Dr. Brett Robin, the former Longhorn running back, is a really good guy, and open now in Austin, Georgetown, and Killeen. All right, Jerry, my final question for this episode of Talking Ball, and really sticking to Arch Manning. Where do you, and Sark talked a little about his mechanics failing him, even in the fourth quarter. Where do you come out on his mechanics being a problem? And was that just a part and parcel of his brain getting, misfiring because of what Matt Patricia and that Ohio State defense was doing? Or does he just have poor footwork? Because I know what I think, but I want to know what other people are thinking.
I don't think he has poor footwork. Guys that have worked with David Morse at QB Country and grown up as a quarterback, he doesn't have poor footwork. I think I kind of go back to what Joel Klatt said. I think he had almost an out-of-body experience a little bit. Instead of playing on the balls of his feet, he was playing on his heels.
Yeah.
And that's not what you saw with Arch in high school. That's not what that has never been repped into him. So I go back to what Joel Klatt says. You kind of feel like you have an out-of-body experience, and you kind of can lose your way a little bit in a tough first road game if your first road game is against a really good team. I think that's more of anything. But here's the tough part about being a quarterback. Really, one of the tough things about being a quarterback, Bobby, is like you can't pre-snap say, okay, I got to play on the balls of my feet. I mean, that just doesn't work that way. You got too many other things going on. So hopefully he just gets back to his natural, and it gets back to what he's been trained to do throughout his course of being a quarterback. Because if you start to think before the first snap, think, all right, man, stay on the balls of my feet, there's a million other things going on. I don't think it works that way. That's when guys on the first tee box still hit it right and left. I mean, you're thinking about all the technical things you need to be doing. It doesn't work that way. He's got to go out and throw the football. He's got to go out and listen to Sark in the headset and be clear about what needs to happen pre-snap and then post-snap. So I hopefully we see, and that's one of the things I'm going to be watching, is he on the balls of his feet Saturday against San Jose State? If he plays more on the balls of his feet like he always has, I think it's going to be a great sign.
Yeah, I wonder, you're saying that, he just got overwhelmed maybe a little bit. I'm wondering if maybe a little bit of a mix of things didn't happen. Matt Patricia was in his head. It was how big this moment was, not wanting to get sacked and take a big loss in certain situations. So he kind of You know, I feel like it's interesting because we were watching a guy that clearly has a ton of talent, yet he wasn't showcasing it every time. Now he came back and, like Sark said, had some good moments. The long pass to injuries, the deep in route to Ryan Wingo, the touchdown pass to Parker Livingstone. Some things started getting pieced together in the second half, which is what Sark said. But even still, late in the fourth, he had bad footwork a couple times.
Yeah.
And so he didn't get all the way there, but maybe, and this is what I think is going to happen, I think you'll see him improve each and every minute over the next 3 games. And then we'll see what happens when he goes to Gainesville. But it starts this weekend at home against San Jose State in the home opener. All right, Jerry, before we let folks go, I want to let them know that they can buy these hats that Jerry are wearing. We have several different kinds. We've got a new ball cap even there. And you want On Texas Football cap for the game this weekend. Make sure you give us a shout or check us out at shop.ontexasfootball.com. That's shop.ontexasfootball.com for all the new merch that we have available. Jerry, that'll do it for this episode of Talking Ball, sponsored by Dr. Brett Robin. Until later, I'm Bobby Burton. You guys have a good week. Hook 'em.